Hello there, welcome to Brambleberry. If you want to find out how I lost 60-ish pounds, then stick around and I'll tell you. The burn barrel is just to keep me warm for the moment and to burn some trash. So this is obviously a homesteading channel, and I guess this is, I would say, partially related, because one of the reasons why we are homesteading is to live healthier and raise our own food eventually. We haven't got to a whole lot of that yet, but we're working towards it. But if you've been watching our channel so far, you may have noticed that I'm a little bit leaner than I was whenever we started recording these videos. Excuse me, I'm trying to get some things accomplished while I'm recording this. Just went and picked up some supplies, building materials, those sorts of things. But anyway, back to the weight loss. So there's been several things I've been doing, and I'll preface all this as I preface many of my videos in other areas that I am not an expert. So, talk to your doctor if you want to lose some weight. Usually they're pretty helpful in helping with those sorts of things. But maybe if you can take some of the things I've done and give them a try, it might be helpful to you too. I don't know. Everybody's different. And that's the main thing, I think, is to figure out what works for you. What works for me may not work for you. So I'm kind of rambling. It's okay. I thought about sitting down and making like a outline of this, but I decided to just wing it and see what happens. So let's go for a walk. Leave the warmth of the burn barrel. It's been raining a lot. Water's pulling up here on my road. I got a little too low there. I need to dig out a little bit. There's always some maintenance to do on these things. Our bodies are no different. So just an overview though of what I have done. First off, I watch my carbohydrate intake. It's not that I don't eat carbohydrates, it's that I limit them, and I'm careful about what sources of carbohydrates I have. If I have carbs, typically it comes from fruits and vegetables, less so fruits, more so the vegetables, and less so on the starchy ones. That's not to say that I never eat any of those other things. I just don't do it a whole lot. And I'm coming off of, Christmas vacation here, so I ate all kinds of carbs there. But I'm going to get back on the wagon here shortly. And that's, I think, an important piece to all of this, is that you don't always have to be good. You just need to be good most of the time. Give yourself a break, get back on it, but don't give up. So, limit carbs. Sugar is really not good. I try to avoid sugar in just about everything. You gotta really watch for added sugars. Eating whole foods kind of helps you to avoid that, as opposed to eating things that are from a box, prepackaged things, that kind of stuff. Anything with lots of ingredients that you don't know what they are, you can't pronounce them, I avoid that. So as far as what I eat, that's kind of it. I try to stick with proteins and fats, healthy fats. And we could get into a whole debate on what is and isn't healthy on that, but you can do your own research, read between the lines on all that stuff. The other thing that I have been doing is fasting, specifically intermittent fasting, and it varies from day to day as to what I do. Sometimes I do longer fasts, sometimes I do shorter fasts. Whenever I'm at school, it's easier because I get busy and I just skip lunch. I don't eat breakfast, I skip lunch, and then I'll eat dinner. So I'll have one meal a day. Usually have like a 4 to 5 hour feeding window. That works for me most days. On the weekends, though, a lot of times I'll eat lunch and I'll eat dinner. So that kind of gives me a break from the fasting. But most days it is just the one meal a day. I say one meal, but a window, so I may eat like a meal, but then I'll have snacks and stuff during that time too. So I still, get some caloric intake, but it kind of limits my caloric intake. Creek crossing's still holding up. Water's flowing. Pulled up back here a little bit. Like I said, we've been having a lot of rain. Looks kind of cool. At least in my opinion, it does. So, fasting and limiting carbs and not eating sugar. Oh, also, I cut out dairy with the exception of a couple of things. And I didn't realize how much this was bothering me. I knew that I personally, at one point in my life, was told that I was lactose intolerant. But then, it's like one of those things where you drink milk, yeah, it's going to bother you. But, cheese didn't seem like it was bothering me a whole bunch. So I would eat cheese still, sour cream, those kinds of things. Ice cream would bother me, yeah, but I would still eat it anyway. And my doctor told me that I really needed to quit eating it. And so I did. And that was a big change for me. I didn't realize how sick it was making me. Just like little sickness here and there. Like I always had problems with allergies. That kind of got better because I didn't realize it was causing me to be mucusy. I know it's kind of gross, but it was doing that. It was causing me to kind of have a perpetual upset stomach. And I just had learned to live with it. And it was because I have trouble processing the dairy. And I think there's probably more people out there that have trouble processing it than really know it. It's just not bad enough for them to pay much mind to it. So if you kind of have like ongoing gastrointestinal issues, that might be something worth considering, cutting it out for a while and seeing. Now, I will eat cleaner cheeses that have less lactose in them, like feta and Parmesan, for instance. But I do that sparingly. But after having been off of them for some time now, I've noticed that whenever I have some cheese accidentally, like you go out somewhere to eat and something has cheese on it, you didn't know it, you don't want to be rude, so you go in and eat it, and it bothers me. Like, I did not realize. So anyway, I won't keep going on about that, other than the fact that my doctor, and this is kind of gross and kind of what got me to quit eating the cheese, is he's like, really dairy products are just you eating mucus from another animal. And I thought, that's appetizing. Hopefully I didn't cause you to just, throw up a little bit. Hopefully nobody's eating dinner while they're watching this. But yeah, I mean, it comes from a mucosal membrane in another animal, so that's gross. It tastes delicious though. But anyway, that kind of got me rethinking the way I thought about dairy. So I cut that out too. So dairy out, sugar out, carbs mostly out except for ones that came from vegetables and non-starchy vegetables. Although I will eat those sparingly. Sometimes I love potatoes. Sometimes I gotta eat some potatoes. But I don't eat potatoes every day. Moderation is key in most things. Back to the fasting. So I've been doing intermittent fasting for quite some time. Oh, and I should say that, this didn't happen overnight. 60 pounds is quite a bit of weight to drop off. And it took me, it's probably been a year and a half, I would say, that I've been kind of following this way of eating and managing my intake. So it took a while. And I had ups and downs, it wasn't like a fall of the hole. Sometimes I'd go up a little bit and then back down again. But I always got back on the bandwagon, kept on going. And it's kind of like the fasting part of it has kind of just started being the way I approach food. And it started making me think more about the purpose of food, and kind of reframing that in my head, which I think has helped. I also have tried doing longer fasts. There's been 2 occasions where I've done a 3-day water fast, and that's very interesting. If like the first 24 hours or so of it, you're hungry and you think you're going to starve to death. But then after that, the hunger pains kind of go away and you're not really hungry anymore. And you go, I don't guess I really need that food. Mind you, you have to have a bunch of water intake. And if you're thinking about doing this, do your research for sure. Make sure you're prepared for it, because it's a hard thing to do. Not just mentally, but physically too. You have to be prepared for it. I would not advise doing a 3-day water fast if you are not used to fasting already. Intermittent fasting and cutting carbs kind of prepares you to do a water fast, because it gets your body burning fat for energy as opposed to sugar. Oh, another thing. I noticed that when I first started intermittent fasting, there would be days that I would just be like really hungry in the mornings, and I'd push through it. But some days I wouldn't. I would give up and I would eat earlier than I should have. And I was talking to my doctor about that, and he said, well, what are you eating at night? And so we got kind of examining that, and I was eating more like carb heavy things in the evening. And he said that he thinks this is why I was hungry, because my blood sugar, basically my body was processing all those carbs and using it for energy. And then by the time the morning rolled around, my blood sugar was tanking, because I wasn't giving my body anything. I wasn't giving it any more sugars or anything for that matter other than water. And so that was what was making me hungry, because it was calling for more energy. So I kind of switched that up, and I did more protein heavy, fat heavy in the evening, and that helped actually. I was able to fast a little bit easier. So there's that. little tidbit there. I don't know if that would help anyone trying to do this or not. And if you do decide to intermittent fast, you don't have to dive all in at once with it. You can do, when you sleep, you're fasting. So all you have to do really is eat earlier in the evening and then later in the morning. And guess what? You're intermittent fasting. You could even do 3 meals still if you wanted to at first, but then maybe cut it down to 2 meals. Increase your fasting window, eat a little bit later in the day. It depends on what works with your schedule, For me, it works to skip breakfast and lunch and just eat dinner. But for some people, they may want to break their fast early and then not eat dinner. It's kind of a personal preference and what works for you. Basically, you want to get something that's going to be sustainable for you. But back to the water fasting part of this. And as I said, I've only done this 2 times, but it was very interesting to me, the whole process and how I felt. After that first 24-hour period, you start to kind of get this mental clarity, and it's my understanding that this is because your body is switching over to burning fat stores, and your brain supposedly, remember, I'm no expert, but your brain operates more efficiently on fat. And so you have that mental clarity, and that kind of shows itself, when you're not eating and your body's burning its fat stores. So I could see why someone would want to do a longer fast, even I was doing it for physical reasons, but I can see why fasting is so often tied to spiritual things, because it does give you that mental clarity, helps you to focus and think. And if you do it, I know this is about my diet, but if you do that in conjunction, with spiritual matters, praying, those sorts of things, kind of get you to draw a closer relationship with your Creator, which I think is pretty cool. I haven't delved too much into that, but I am very interested in learning more about it, and I probably will at some point delve more into it. Anyway, I just thought this might be a good video to record and share. Maybe it gives some of you some inspiration, especially as we're starting the new year. Everybody's got those New Year resolutions. Those, so often don't last. But I would encourage you, if you're going to make a change like that, to do little changes at first, and don't be hard on yourself if you mess up. The key is to keep going and stay the course. And if you mess up, well, there's another day. You just try again the next time. So anyway, if you have any questions about any of this or comments, leave them down below. I'd like to see what other people have done, and maybe you have some little tidbit about a low-carb, keto-y kind of diet or fasting that you want to share. If you have thoughts on the spiritual side of the fasting too, that would be cool to hear what your thoughts are on that. But anyway, if you've watched, as always, I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a very blessed day and a happy new year.